Coming up on this week's programme,
I head to the Scottish Orkney Islands to help uncover their Neolithic past.
It's about 5,000 years old, the like of which had never really been seen before.
We go, guys.
yeah?
Go, 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 go.
We take off in Macedonia in search of new thrills. And Addy takes a look at what's been trending in travel online, including a tweet that's been beamed into outer space.
We offer friendship across the stars.
The Orkneys are a remote archipelago of islands about 30 miles off the northern coast of Scotland. They're known for their rolling green farmland and dramatic cliffs, but they've also become famous across the world for their extraordinary ancient sites. The region came to the attention of the archaeological world back in 1850 with the discovery of Skara Brae, a Neolithic settlement on the west coast of Orkney's mainland. Since then, discoveries have been made across the islands, and in 1999, a group of monuments known as the Heart of Neolithic Orkney was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO.
In recent years, new geoscanning technology has meant more discoveries than ever before, and some say we're in a golden age of Scottish archaeology.
It was this sort of technology that in 2003 helped reveal a hidden treasure. A building complex up to 5,000 years old, buried under a farm on Orkney's Brodgar Peninsula. The site stretched over 2.5 hectares beneath the ground, comprising temples, paved streets and outbuildings. It's since been dubbed the Ness of Brodgar and hailed as the greatest Neolithic find in the modern era.
It's the scale of it which is really kind of...
Archaeologist Nick Card is responsible for excavating the Ness of Brodgar, which is no small task.
The site is so big that even this trench behind us is still only about 10% of the whole area. Wow. So what we're doing is just gradually unpicking it, trying to refine the chronology, seeing how all these buildings relate to each other, which ones were in use at the same time, and taking thousands of samples to try and work out how these buildings were actually utilised.
The site is open for just 8 weeks a year and requires the hard work of dozens of volunteers.
Right, Krista, here we have the remains. Can you see the outer wall of a really large building in front of Norman and Ray here? Tracking right round a huge curving wall. I have a trowel, so I've got one ready for you. Yeah, the key tool, yes. And we're going to get into the trench and we're just going to clean back from the outer face of that wall and just gently clean back, scrape back to reveal the paving. Okay. So let's get in and see.
We're crouched over an old pathway, and slowly as we scrape away the soil, the ancient paving stones are revealed. It's fascinating to think that the last humans to touch these stones were people living up to 5 millennia ago.
It could be anything right here.
Yes, you just never know.
Incredible find. Right
Absolutely,
here.
yes.
So, what is that I've found?
I think that's a fragment of burnt bone.
Oh.
You see how it's white? Because it's been subjected to really intense heat.
So is that
it's a fragment
animal bone?
Probably animal bone here, yeah. Somebody's had a meal,
Throwing
that's
the
the
bones out the
remains.
window.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not so much finding the special pretty little things, which are lovely to find. It's the understanding of how the people lived here. And when you find a fragment of a pot, then you think, why is that artefact there? Why is it being put there? And who put it there? And why did they put it there? You know, and it's unpicking that story, which is the really fascinating part for me.
It's a great feeling to contribute even a little to the work taking place here. But maintaining an active site like this takes more than just elbow grease. It costs money, around £2,000 a day. Much of that funding comes from donations, including an active charitable fund based in the USA, but also relies on EU grants. Some reports have suggested that Britain's forthcoming departure from the EU could result in a loss of up to 30% of funding for UK archaeological research, which could cause problems for sites such as the Ness of Brodgar.
I think in the longer term, not being able to apply for research grants like the European Research Council is going to have quite a dramatic effect on how projects such as the Ness will develop, and we will be relying more and more on public support.
One possible solution to the funding shortfall could come from what is already a strong contributor to the Orkney economy: tourism. Orkney's popularity as a destination has grown markedly in recent years, with visitor numbers reaching around 200,000 per annum. Many of these tourists arrive by sea, which is not surprising, as Orkney is the UK's most popular cruise ship destination. And one of the key attractions is the island's ancient past. Many cruise passengers join tours straight off the ship and head to the site of Skara Brae, which has been famous since its discovery 150 years ago.
It's now a well-established tourist site with buses arriving by the dozen and tens of thousands of visitors each year.
Skara Brae is a great example of the power of ancient sites to draw tourists and how they can benefit from the tourist dollar. At the Ness of Brodgar, tourists visit the site daily during the season. They can view the proceedings from a specially built platform overlooking the dig site and are encouraged to make donations. But the question is whether these contributions will be enough to compensate for any future shortfall in funding. Gareth Crichton from the local Orkney Tourism Group is hopeful that tourism revenue will grow and allow more support for sites like the Ness of Brodgar.
Tourism already is a resource for the archaeology, but it should grow. There's lots of opportunity to develop that, and that's something here in Orkney we're very, very focused on. It's very much a two-way thing. There's so much for visitors to benefit from here. The value that you get out of a visit to Orkney and the sites in Orkney is fantastic, but it has to work both ways.
For now, the team here are getting on with the job of uncovering the mysteries of the Ness. What the future holds for archaeology in the region is of course unknown, but in Orkney, there's always a good chance there could be even more astonishing ancient sites still hidden under the earth, waiting to be discovered. And it's not just the Orkney Islands that are brimming with history. It's reckoned there are tens of thousands of sites of archaeological interest dotted across Scotland. So here's the Travel Show's pick of just some of them. The west coast of Lewis, which is the most northerly island in the Outer Hebrides, is rich in ancient remains. The standing stones of Callanish are famous worldwide and a must-see for any visitor. These gigantic rocks stand between 1 and 5 metres high and are believed to have been constructed around 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. The site also includes a burial cairn where human remains have been found. Over on the mainland, you'll find the site of a Pictish fort close to the small town of Burghead in Moray. This northeastern part of the country was one of the earliest centres of power for the Picts, or painted people as the Greeks and Romans knew them. Head to the Benaki Hills in Aberdeenshire to see a series of distinctive hilltops that are the site of an Iron Age hill fort. Historians have suggested that this was the place where the Caledonii tribe took on the might of the Roman Empire in a battle around 83 AD. According to the ancient Roman historian Tacitus, the Caledonii lost over 10,000 warriors before losing the battle. And finally, built in the 1300s, Dunnottar Castle is a ruined medieval fortress located on a craggy headland on the northeast coast of Scotland, about 3 kilometres south of Stonehaven. The rocks it was built on are more than 440 million years old, and the ruined clifftop fortress was once home to the Earls Marischal, one of the most powerful families in Scotland, although they eventually lost their influence following the Jacobite uprisings of the 18th century.
Still to come on this week's travel show.
We take to the skies in Macedonia.
The Travel Show, your essential guide, wherever you're heading.
Time now for Trending Travel, your monthly mashup of the best travel-related stories, snaps and videos online. This year marked 40 years since the launch of Voyager 1, the spacecraft that has gone on to become the most remote man-made object in space. It's so remote, in billions of years' time, it could be the last surviving piece of human civilization. To mark the anniversary, NASA launched the Message to Voyager campaign, inviting Twitter users to submit a 60-character message to be beamed to the craft. The winning entry was announced last month and took almost a day to reach Voyager 1. It was William Shatner, the actor who played Captain James T. Kirk on Star Trek, who gave the command at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory to send a message written by Oliver Jenkins that states,
We offer friendship across the stars. You are not alone. Send the message.
On your command. Message to Voyager at 1720:01.
Knowing William Shatner read it is really cool. I'm a massive Trekkie, so it was an honour to have Captain Kirk read my message.
What could be more inviting than swimming in a New York river? The waterways aren't known for their cleanliness, but that could be about to change with Plus Pool. It's a swimming pool designed to float in the river and filter over 600,000 gallons of river water, making it safe to bathe in. The project has been floating around unrealised for years, attracting some celebrity backers and Kickstarter funding. Now they're trying to get 100,000 online signatures to acquire a $100,000 grant, which they claim will help turn these plans into a reality. Thanks to everyone who sent us their pictures this month using the hashtag #TravelTuesday. Here are some of my favourites. Claire snapped this view out of her hotel room in Italy, while this was sent to us during the Kampala City Festival in Uganda. Rashid sent us a pic of these morning commuters in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Don't forget to check out our Twitter and Facebook feeds for loads of extra special travel show content. Now let's look at the travel videos clocking up the views online. This year marks 100 years since the Russian Revolution, so we've selected 2 films showing different sides to the world's largest country.
I chose St. Petersburg as a good place. It's very beautiful, very famous city. I just wanted to capture the atmosphere of the city.
I wish I could get back to this country soon because it's so big, there is so much to discover there. There is such a diversity in the languages, the landscapes, the culture, the music.
Don't forget to get in touch. It's at BBC Travel Show.
To end this week on The Travel Show, we're off to the Macedonian town of Kruševo, which up until now hasn't been on everyone's list of places to visit. But Kruševo is slowly finding its place on the map for people who like to get their thrills high above the ground, as Amanda Ruggieri found out.
The tiny town of Kruševo has just 2,000 inhabitants. But what it lacks in size, it makes up for in height. It sits at 1,350 meters, making it the highest town in all of Macedonia.
But not that many people outside of the country have ever heard of this place. There's one activity that's drawing people not only from all over the country and Europe, but all over the world.
I'm at the Czech and Macedonian Open, one of the dozens of international competitions that Kruševo has hosted over the years.
The wind strength for today predicted for the whole day is 6+ meters.
Today's competitors have come from as far away as India, Russia, and New Zealand. They're drawn not only by the competition, but, they say, by the top-notch conditions that Kruševo offers.
It's just perfect. The distance to the takeoff is very short, just 5 minutes, and the road is good. In some places you have to be driving for like 1 hour in like windy roads and stuff like that. The town is very like small and cozy, and it's easy being here. And also the weather is very reliable. It's almost flyable every day, which is perfect when you want to fly a lot in a short period of time.
As the competitors wait for their briefing, I catch up with the competition's current champion. He's just one of many paragliders who comes here year after year to fly.
I think this place is not well known, but in this small paragliding world, for good pilots who are going for the competitions and some events, they know the Kruševo. In my point of view is on the first or second place in my overall ranking in the world. Yeah.
I'm hoping that all of the wonderful things I've heard about Kruševo's flying conditions are correct, because I'm about to go flying myself. I've never gone paragliding before, and even though this will be in a tandem, there's something about flying like a bird that makes me just a tad nervous.
You have the whistle here if something goes wrong?
What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
I don't know.
Why would I have to use the whistle?
If something goes wrong.
Ahead of the flight, my instructor gives me the rundown of everything he says I have to know.
It's easier than anything else you ever done in your life, so it's easier than riding a bicycle, and it's safer than riding a bicycle. If the pilot is good, if he knows how to do it, then we prepare for the flight first. We check all the equipment, then in 2 steps we are in the air. The wind not to be too strong, and if you want a good flight, then we need to have this kind of weather like today. Nice sunny day with the beautiful clouds.
As luck would have it, even though Kruševo is one of the world's best places for paragliding, the conditions today aren't good. The wind is strong and keeps changing.
Disaster!
And because we're flying in a tandem, which is heavier and bigger than a single pilot glider, already risky wind conditions are even more dangerous for us.
I'm just checking the lines now.
He's checking the lines.
They was not properly attached, so I need to fix them.
They weren't properly attached, so I'm glad we figured that out.
But Igor is determined to find a spot where we can safely take off. Due to the weather, and despite Igor's best efforts, I can tell this is not going to be one of the most elegant takeoffs. And I am not totally convinced we are going to get off the ground. But suddenly the wind takes hold and we are airborne.
We're flying!
I've never experienced anything like this. My heart is in my mouth as the ground disappears below. As cliched as it is to say, It is a feeling of pure freedom and of complete vulnerability.
Just extraordinary. Just see the landscape from all the way up here.
Many of us may be used to looking down on the landscape from airplane windows. But it's altogether different when there is absolutely nothing between you and the sky.
That was amazing! I really want to go up again, but I don't think we're supposed to. The wind is definitely getting worse, and I think one flight was all we get today. But I'm really happy with that. It was awesome.
I loved flying so much, I'm a little disappointed that we had to cut our flight short. But I'm incredibly glad I got the chance to experience something so thrilling and in one of the best places in the world for it. No wonder paragliders become addicted to their sport, and no wonder so many of them come back to Kruševo again and again. I may not be a paraglider yet, but it's easy to see the attraction.
Well, that's all we've got time for on this week's programme. Coming up next week...
Addie's in Swedish Lapland, finding a city on the move, literally, in one of the world's biggest ever urban transformations.
About 6,000 people will be moving because their houses and their apartments will be affected.
That's because a sinkhole threatens to swallow up the whole of Kiruna.
And all these buildings, everything that you can see in front of you now, will eventually collapse into the hole.
So do join us then if you can. And in the meantime, don't forget you can keep up with us while we're out on the road in real time by signing up to our social media feeds. Details are on the screen now. But for now, from me, Krista Larwood, and the rest of the Travel Show team here in Orkney, it's goodbye.